tensions continue to escalate between the French farmers and Emmanuel Macron's government, as the French government have now decided to deploy many more police officers and security forces. Yes, this is following all the incidents and events we've seen over the last few days, actually over the last week, a couple of weeks, with the French farmers completely bringing down the whole country and disrupting the system by opposing not just Emmanuel Macron himself as president, but of course big government, high taxes, and the globalist agenda. Now, as reported by France 24 and obviously posted by Mario Nafal, the France and Paris specifically have been preparing for more protests obviously happening even this week. The Interior Minister, obviously Gerald Darmanin, has implemented strict security measures in Paris to prevent disruptions from the planned farmers' blockade. The focus is on safeguarding airports and of course all the other areas, including markets. Now, the issue that we have is actually about how they're doing this. So essentially, they've created a situation where Emmanuel Macron has now called on to actually bring in 15,000 extra police officers and security personnel to tackle this protest, to do a massive crackdown, because the whole of the economy is getting impacted by this, and of course his own credibility and government in general. But the farmers refuse to listen. They continue their movement as usual. Now, as things get even more extreme, obviously as usual, the French government is also getting more extreme. If you think things were bad in Canada with the truckers and of course Justin Trudeau's government, now they did some very, very bad things, including freezing people's bank accounts and all that. But at this time, France has gone full-on France by bringing in armored cars and tanks and basically very extreme measures, essentially militarizing the areas, including central Paris, in order to stop a protest. This is the problem. Yes, this is about the Paris Showdown. French farmers versus armored police tanks, apparently. Obviously, we now have all the issues with the disruptions, the rubbish being thrown out everywhere, manure and everything else flying around as armored vehicles rolled out. And the French police brace for a massive farmer protest. Now, this is just every day, by the way. This is not really a one-off incident, as we already know. Now, we do have a video. Let's go to the footage that we have about, obviously, the armored police cars and vehicles and all the tanks and everything else. Now, while the French population are kind of used to extreme protests, depending on what the policy is, this is actually getting very extreme because it kind of looks like a war zone. I mean, considering what France is, it's supposed to be a civilized liberal nation. It's not really supposed to be like Libya. So in terms of the standards of a Western liberal democracy like France, this is kind of like a war zone. It's very extreme, and obviously they have checkpoints everywhere to basically double check to see if anyone's going through, especially through the markets or the central Paris as well, to make sure that nobody is actually going to be planning something, a protest. Now, obviously, as usual, we will keep you guys posted on Tousi TV, even if the corporate media refuses to give you guys the details of what's going on in Paris and other places as well. I'm Maya Tousi, and we are the media.